And we're live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How you doing today, Glenn?
Good, good.
Good. Have you got any fishing in the last couple days? I saw you post a couple of videos.
Oh yeah. Recently, with this morning, I hit one of the local ponds and struck out. Went out this afternoon, back to Lavon over there by Livonia, the South Park.
Oh yeah. I've been there a couple times.
Yeah. I like that one because it's free, and then
Yeah,
two, it's usually got a good drop off right over there by the boat ramp.
yeah.
And
It gets pretty deep there, huh?
yeah, and today I was doing that bottom bouncing where I back paddle with the kayak and didn't get a bunch of fish, but I did get the one catfish and then a crappie undersized and some yellow
That's
bass.
man. But before we get too into it, man, I kind of wanted to just kind of for people listening, kind of give a background of you and your YouTube page. It caught my eye, and I was like, man, I got to speak to this guy because you're right down my alley. Because I've been fishing Lake Lavon for about a year now.
Okay.
So you're with COAF Field Team. What does that stand for?
It's City of Island Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team on YouTube, and it's we used to be a group of five, but I'm the only one left. The other four either got married, retired, or moved on to either another state or other part of the country.
It's like
So,
that crazy dynamic. Like once you get married, like your wife just hates you going fishing,
oh
right?
yeah, oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
like every country song.
So give them about maybe another 10, 15 years and then they'll be back to fishing again.
They'll be right back in the boat, you know. Like
Oh, yeah.
just like me, man. A little background on me for fishing. I actually I grew up in Corpus Christi, so
Hmm.
I did a lot of saltwater fishing. Was really what I was doing most of my life. So
All
freshwater
right.
to me is I've been here for a year. I live in Wiley, and it's a different ball game, man. I don't
Yeah.
know if the fish are smarter or if there's just not as many fish or what, but it's completely different.
Yeah, it's different than saltwater. And speaking of Corpus Christi, I grew up in Beeville,
Oh, no
Texas.
way. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
about 40 minutes from us
Yeah,
where I
so
grew
so I
up.
did a lot of saltwater fishing over there, Port Aransas, Bob Hall Pier,
Yep, Bob
all the
Hall.
different piers. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
and
grew up
then
surfing that pier. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, man. I mean, I always loved the water. I had a pool growing up in my backyard, and then so the logical next step was to, go to the beach. And my parents were, or my mom mostly, was really into me taking me surfing at a young age. So it really gave me like an appreciation for Mother Nature and the water itself. And it was, I mean, it's awesome, man. I fell in love right away. Didn't take anything, but
yeah, yeah. I definitely like saltwater and surfing. You know, I didn't surf, but I boogie boarded.
oh
I still
yeah.
got two of my boogie boards here.
Hey man, as long as you're out there having a good time, that's all that matters. It's the same for fishing too, right?
Oh yeah. So have you been to Packery Channel when they dredged it up
Oh
and now it's
yeah,
got a
yeah.
really
I
oh
surf the north side and the south side. Man, I lived on. I don't know how I graduated high school, to be honest. I was either surfing or I was fishing. Most of the time, I was in my younger days. Of
oh
course,
yeah
you get
yeah
older and you just like what you said with the other people in your crew. They kind of get different hobbies or get married and have kids and kind of fall off on that. But I was blessed. I came from well, I went to San Antonio for a couple of years, and dude, I was just how you just miss being out in the water so much. It's crazy to think that people go their whole lives without ever seeing a body of water.
oh yeah. I was in the service, the Navy, so I hit different places with lots of water.
Oh, awesome,
Uh
man. Thank you for your service.
oh no biggie. It was a fun time. Did a lot of fishing. Did a lot of what do you call it? Boogie boarding. I was in California as well as in Hawaii and then overseas.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
it was a fun time. But I'm here working freshwater now. So
It's a little
uh,
different, man. It's a completely different ball game. And for those that are listening that don't fish much, like just you don't know. I'm sure a lot of my fans and friends are from Corpus, so they don't really. I mean, you grew up in Beeville, so I'm sure you maybe went to like Mathis Lake or somewhere around
Oh yeah,
there and
yeah.
tried to go
Oh yeah.
fishing, like Nueces River. I know there's like
Oh
big
yeah.
water there. My old man actually fished
Oh
there.
yeah.
But, what would you say got you like into fishing? Really?
Oh, I've been fishing ever since I was a kid, way back when. In fact, my first fish I ever caught was in Corpus Christi at the Naval Air Station.
Oh yeah, that's a good spot for some trout.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, this was they call it an oyster fish. That was my first one, and then the second one right after that was a whiting,
Okay,
and
the
after
whitings are
that,
nice.
yeah, and after that, I was hooked.
Yeah, one of the first times I ever caught a fish on the beach, it was a whiting, and they look almost like a croaker, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they're like, man, you can just cook those up. And I mean, at the time, I was literally a beach bum, sleeping on the sand most of the week. So
Oh yeah,
just
yeah.
filleted it up there, put it on in some foil, just put it on around the fire for a little bit, and it was probably one of the best delicious fish I've ever eaten fresh like that. But as far as the oyster fish, are you talking about like gosh, what are they called? Is it the one with the teeth? Sheephead?
No, no. This is an ugly. You can call them toadfish also. I mean,
Oh,
they're
okay, okay.
brown and really ugly looking. No,
Like a dogfish?
no, not
Kind
like
of
a
look like my
dogfish, but
ex-wife, you know what I mean?
I don't know about that. But
I'm just kidding. Oh man,
yeah.
but I mean, as far as like you said, you grew up young fishing. I mean, was that something that like you did on your own, or did your family kind of just bring you into it?
On my own. I mean, my dad wasn't a big fisherman. He mainly fished to catch fish. Other than that, it
Yeah, it
was
wasn't like a sport. It was like, okay, I'm
yeah.
hungry. I want a redfish. Let's go.
I
Let's
know.
go fishing. Load up the van.
Oh yeah. Here
Find.
I'll share my video or
Okay.
my video feed. Can you see
Oh,
me?
awesome. Yeah, perfect.
All right. So behind me, I got a ton of poles,
Oh man,
and
that's awesome.
there's some in front of me also and to the side,
Yeah,
and uh, it ranged from
and
starting out with.
ukuleles.
Oh yeah, yeah, I love the ukulele also. But the main thing is I started out with an old, was it Zebco
Yeah, the
spin
little push
casting?
buttons.
Oh yeah, the push button one.
Spider-Man.
Thought I was catching all kinds of stuff, and then after that, moved on to I got the fly fishing bug early.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know why, but for some reason I just got into that.
Man, that's one thing I've never done is gone fly fishing. And I have a buddy that like is just he loves it, you know.
Yeah,
He's in the
yeah,
Coast Guard and everywhere he would go, he actually was stationed in I think Alaska for a while and he got
yeah,
really into it, but I don't know. I get birds nested up even with a
yeah.
spinning reel, you know. I don't know how I'd trust myself with one of those.
Well, what I do is I'm not just a fly fish. I work through all the different techniques. So
Mhm.
it's mainly whatever's biting or
Yeah,
whatever's working. So
of course.
if it's a spin, ultralight spinning reel, okay, fine, I'll do that.
Mhm.
If it's heavy casting gear, same. I'll switch over. Just the main thing I think I'm still in that quantity phase. I want to catch a lot of fish,
Yeah, yeah. See, like
but
I'm always in that phase, but I probably catch like two fish, you know, when I go out or like three. There was one
yeah,
spot in Corpus I'd go to. I'm not gonna tell you where unless you message me directly. But
okay,
I used to limit out at trout every day. I'd go there like in between 2 and 3 a.m.
all right,
But
cool.
as far as quantity, man, like do you eat your fish or do you just kind of do it for
Oh,
the
there's certain ones like catfish. I'll keep crappie definitely. I think they
Yeah.
taste the best, and then striped bass, and then trout. Other than
Okay.
that, everything else I pretty much. If I'm keeping it, I'm mainly trying to see if I can do something with it. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
like
I saw you post a video about habanero trout the other day. Is that was that
yeah,
was that
yeah.
something that you caught or was it just something you got from I'm sorry, I did my research, man. I watched like all your videos.
No, no. I caught those during the trout stocking season. So,
Okay.
uh,
What is that? Is that on the
Texas.
lake or
Yeah, these different ponds, especially up here in North Texas, you'll have a bunch of them, and you'll see later in the year. I'll post a schedule. So Texas Parks and Wildlife, they'll post a trout stocking schedule where
Mhm.
they are saying they're going to stock these various ponds, community lakes, sometimes rivers and whatnot.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh, they publish it, but it's really tough to see what's getting stocked when and what until you know a particular area. So what I do is um, I do data stuff
Hmm.
on as my real job. And what I'll do is I'll take that information, put it into a spreadsheet, and then I'll sort it and make it to where I can see on chronological order this pond, this lake, this whatever is getting stocked,
Oh
and then
man,
I'll know, okay, go to this one before that one. I mean,
that
it's pretty good.
sounds like a lot of work, but man, does
And it
it
doesn't
pay
take
off?
long. For me, I just do it just for fun, but I just post it and folks look at it, and I think it helps some folks just see what's scheduled to get stocked,
Yeah, I
during that
definitely need to
season.
start looking into that. I used to look at like the moon cycles and all this stuff, and then like I don't know. I
Oh,
guess I'd get frustrated because I'd go even on that time in
yeah,
this place, and then I'd still just catch like a branch or something.
yeah. So where have you been fishing here in
So
Lavon?
I live about 5 minutes from East Fork Park.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar. I'm sure
Yeah.
you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally right down the street. I've been going
Okay.
like 4 or 5 times a week in the past
Okay.
month. So
All right.
kind of checking out
And
that spot.
you're on the bank, or are you in a kayak?
I kayak fish. I have two kayaks that I bought
Okay.
like I said about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and
Okay.
I've been hooked. Not to
All
sound
right.
corny, but
Well,
I've
it's
been
weird
throwing
right
them.
now with the lake, not seeing the boils that we normally see. And
Hmm.
you'll if you follow the Lake Lavon fishing on Facebook, that's a good one to watch and see what the bite's doing and the trends. And there's some really really good fishermen on there,
Yeah,
and some fishing guides that post some good information and give you the idea of what's biting and kind of the trend. And what I found with kayak fishing is I like kayak fishing because if I'm not getting a bite or I'm not getting anything, I'm still getting a workout in.
yeah. See,
So
that was my thing. Like, man, during the quarantine, I wasn't working, and
mm-hmm.
I just sit down and I just feel my legs starting to get weak, my upper
Oh,
body getting weak, and I'm like, I gotta get outside and get in the
oh
sun
yeah,
because,
yeah,
like I said, I grew up outside, man. Just
oh yeah.
me and Mother Nature, and that's another thing about the kayaks that I love is
Mm-hmm.
like you're in a boat. It's almost like there's some sort of like protection from you and Mother Nature, whereas in a kayak, like it's a little bit more dangerous, and
Yeah,
the
oh yeah,
weather and the tides and everything shifting can kind of just completely turn a nice fishing trip into a disaster. I'm not saying that it's ever happened to me, and I'm knocking on wood right now, but
yeah, yeah,
I kind of like that danger. That was one thing I loved about surfing. Like you're out there and you're paddling into this giant wave, and
yeah.
you don't know what's gonna happen if you fall, or if you hit your head on a sandbar. And I
Oh
guess
yeah,
it's like a kind of like a weak style of wanting to do something manly, and I guess a lot of people will kind of see that, and a lot of people that
yeah.
I've taken out a few of my friends, and it's funny to see a lot of people that haven't really grown up around water or know how
Mm-hmm.
to deal with it. Like when somebody tells me they can't swim, I'm like, what do you what do you mean you can't swim? Like
Yeah,
it's just blows my mind. But I don't know. For me, fishing is I don't want to like sound corny or anything again, but it's like a spiritual kind of getting in touch with Mother Nature, and just being out there, watching the sun, feeling the wind, and seeing where it's taking your kayak and the currents, and studying that kind of. I nerd out at that. I don't make spreadsheets, but I'll sit in the same spot for like 4 hours and just kind of watch
yeah.
the
I
fish.
mean, with a kayak though, what's nice about a kayak, especially Lavon, because Lavon's a tough bank fishing lake. There's access is not very good as
Yeah,
other lakes.
I've noticed that there's not a lot of
Yeah.
bank
So
fish.
so I got a kayak, and this is back before kayak fishing was big. I mean,
Hmm.
I'd see maybe one other kayaker when I'd go out, and they were kayaking. They weren't even fishing.
Yeah.
Um, and what I learned initially is I'd start out trolling,
Hmm.
simple slab and jig rig, just toss it behind me and just start trolling and
I
work the
actually
different
tried that
points.
today, man. You inspired me to try it.
Well, it's weird right now because it's hot, and where the fish are tending, they're deeper right now.
Yeah, that's what I
Uh,
figured.
so they're not boiling up like they normally do. And when they're boiling, you can cast toward them, you can troll,
Hmm.
and you'll get your fish.
I'm always that
Right.
guy that like when I try to troll, I get caught in like everything, and I'm just like,
Oh,
come on,
oh
why?
yeah, yeah. It gets frustrating. But
But
what I've been seeing work at least now is I'll just find a point and pretty much I'll cast ahead of me with that
hmm
slab and jig rig, and you'll probably see it in this other video that I'll post what I did today.
okay,
Um, and I think I've have some other posts that I put in there. I call it the back paddling technique.
I saw that one too. We tried it. Me and my girlfriend went out today, and we were just like,
Okay.
you know, I did my research. I was so excited to have you on.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been effective because they're deeper,
hmm
and all I'm doing is I'm casting it ahead of me, and the key is getting that that twitch of the rod
hmm
when you're doing it right. That slab is bouncing on the bottom, and you're
hmm
seeing a steady twitch of your rod as it's bouncing.
yeah, yeah.
And then
I see.
as soon as you get a hit, you'll see it take. It'll bend over, and you'll be ready to bring in, or sometimes miss them. But like today, got several yellow bass. I mean, it was slower than normal, but several yellow bass. I got a crappie, undersized, and then I got a decent catfish that I took a picture of, and I think I'm gonna do some kind of blackened catfish recipe or something with it.
Hey,
But,
that's awesome, man. I love
but
cooking too. So that's
oh
the
yeah,
one thing I remember growing up. My mom was like, if you don't come home with fish, don't come home at all, because her favorite was redfish,
oh
and
yeah,
my favorite too. So
oh yeah, redfish is
and
good.
there was like certain spots, you know, where you'd go for if you want to go
Mhm.
get trout, you go to a spot. If you want to get flounder, you go to a spot. If you want redfish and black drum, you're gonna go to a different spot. But it was a little bit I don't know. It was just different. So, like I said, this like whole adjusting period to me is
Mhm.
kind of getting a little. I mean, it's to the point to where I'm starting to learn, I'm starting to understand, but there's still those like little things that I feel like I'm missing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the main thing I do on Lavon, um, I'll jug line for
mhm.
catfish. So I'll just put out some jug lines and we'll catch some catfish for a fish fry or something.
Yeah,
Other times, when I'm trying to get crappie, specifically crappie, then I'll change to that bouncing slab and jig rig and back paddling. I'll take the slab off and I'll put a light weight on there, maybe a like 1/8 or quarter ounce bank sinker, something that doesn't won't hang up on you, or if it
yeah,
does hang up, it'll break off. And then I'll tie 2 to 3 crappie jigs on there. And what I'll do is I'll bring the fish finder, and I'm looking for basically brushy areas,
yeah.
structure, and all I'll do is I'll just start bouncing that uh, rig and catch a few crappie that way.
Yeah, see, I've heard a few different ways to catch crappie. You're actually the first person that I've spoken to that they actually do the jugs. So jug lining is that? I thought like for me growing up in Corpus, like the Nueces River, there was a lot of jug fishing for gar.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was actually at the spot I was at today, and there was a bunch of jugs, and I'm figuring like, maybe they're fishing for gar, but that spot we caught like 3 catfish.
Mm-hmm.
Is that normal for catfish, or is
Yeah,
it just for anything?
you can use jug lines for catfish. Gar, I believe you can also, but there's a limit now on alligator gar. I think it's 1 per day.
Mm,
Um, but any other fish that you catch, that's a game fish. You have to throw them back if you catch them on a jug.
yeah.
So
Oh, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
yeah,
See,
and
would
it's
you
a
ever have you ever eaten gar? Because I think I've had it
no.
one time, and I'm like, I
I haven't.
remember just not liking it.
Yeah, I mainly catch them and then I let them go. Like right now, the last trip I took up to Denison Dam, tail race to Texoma.
hmm
Uh, that one I was trying to get striped bass, but the gar were hitting, and
So
I
every
caught
time you
like
caught a bass, you caught a gar.
um I was catching gar that day, and the big thing is um, there's some big ones there.
Yeah.
I had several, about 4 or 5 that either snapped the line on me or broke off, and they're bigger than the little three footers that I was catching.
Man.
But that's got me my interest perked up there. I'm thinking about trying to go back there again to try getting some of those big guys that I know
Grab
are
the big
there.
ones, huh?
Oh
I,
yeah, yeah.
the biggest fish I've caught was like and here I go with my fisherman story. Just gonna go ahead and say it there.
Okay.
Uh, was a Jack Crevalle, and it
Oh
was,
yeah,
whew,
yeah.
this is, if you could see, this is my fisherman scale. You know, I'm like, it's this big, but
Okay.
it was a nice size, and it's kind of weird reeling in something that big, you know, and you're not used to it because I was used
Yeah.
to, you know, smaller trout and drum and stuff, but those
Okay.
big fish
Yeah. Oh,
put
yeah.
in some work, man, and it's not. You think kayaking is hard? Try to hook one of those things,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It'll be a good workout too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It's
do you
fun though.
ever have you ever been like shark fishing?
Yeah, we'll go and fish, be it on the beach or we'll work the Galveston piers.
Okay.
They have some pretty good sharks. We try going there at least once a year. There's some past videos that we have that you can see where we've gone over there, and we catch these little guys. They're not big,
Yeah.
but we've seen other folks catch some nice ones from the piers as well. And then
Oh man.
Bob Hall Pier got spooked
Yes.
several times there.
Oh gosh, I've seen
Yeah.
people pull up their big sharks, and
Oh
as
yeah.
they're paddling out next to them, just
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I got a pact with the sharks. You know, I won't mess with you on purpose if you don't mess with me.
Oh
So I
yeah.
mean,
Oh
we're
yeah.
good. You're good, and
Yeah.
I feel the same about the gar when I'm out there, especially when you see them tailing, and you're in the middle of nowhere, especially when you're
All
by
right.
yourself and you just see a big boy just plop up in front of you, and you get a little, you get a little. Yeah, hairs on your neck kind of go up, and you paddle a little bit faster.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty funny to see, but it's scary too. But as far as fishing, like, you know, the Lake Lavon, is that mostly where you fish, or do you kind of go a little bit everywhere?
So in the summer, I mainly hit Lake Lavon for kayak fishing,
Okay.
and then off and on hit these local ponds just to wet a line and catch a fish here or there.
Mm-hmm.
And then come winter, shift over to more trout when they do the trout stocking, either here in Texas or make the run across the border to Oklahoma. They've got several rivers there that we like fishing.
Awesome.
Broken Bow,
I've heard
Lower Illinois.
that place a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like right now, Lower Illinois. There's 2 year-round fisheries in Oklahoma. Broken Bow or Lower Mountain Fork, it's also called. Nearest state park, Beavers Bend State Park, all the same places when someone's referring to that
Mm-hmm.
location. And it's stocked year round. There's some nice sized trout there. There's a trophy section that you gotta. I think you can only keep one fish over 20 inches or something.
Right on.
That one's a good one, but it gets clobbered because a lot of people will visit there for the summer. The other place is Lower Illinois River, it's a tail race to Lake Tenkiller, and right now that one it's not fished as much. There's not as much crowds there, and there's a lot of fish. There's a guide that I stay in touch with who guides up there, and they're catching striped bass to smallmouth bass to stripers or to trout, just across the board. And he sent me some pictures, and there's some nice stuff that they're catching up there. And here it is, middle of summer basically, and they're limiting out on trout.
So is the summer kind of like a standstill for fishing normally here, like with lakes or
In
just in
Texas?
general? Yeah, I mean, by the like I said, by the bay, you know, or the Gulf Coast. I mean, it was year round mostly. I mean,
Yeah.
drum ran during the winter
Yeah.
more, like black drum, but overall, I mean, as long as you knew where they were at, they're there a lot of the time.
Yeah. So in the summer, you got to be. It's a little bit different, especially with the lakes. Especially when it gets really really hot.
Mm-hmm.
What you're looking for is the thermocline. So that's the point in the lake where the temperature is it's colder under the thermocline versus warmer above it.
Yeah.
And there's less oxygen below the thermocline as well. And what happens is if you can find that thermocline, that's going to tend where the fish are is right above that layer.
Yeah.
And usually, depending on what time of the summer it is, it may be deeper than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, the word I'm getting from other folks out there, 14 to 15 feet of water is where people are catching most of their, be it white bass, crappie. Catfish is hit or miss, because what I've noticed with catfish, especially jug lining, is I'll set a set of jug lines shallow, 4 to 6 feet of water,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll set them deeper, maybe 16 feet of water. And then as the day progresses, I'll see that they're hitting deeper, then they're coming in shallow, then they're coming back out again. And then I'll just adjust the jug lines to where think the pattern is at that time, and then adjust again as it changes.
See, right now I'm fishing mostly like, I don't know, from 10 to 6 feet of water. How would you feel about that right now? I'm really trying to catch crappie. I've caught sandies. I've caught
Mm-hmm.
the drum, the freshwater drum. I've caught catfish, channel, blue.
Yeah. So the thing about crappie is they're gonna be referencing structure. So anything that has a brush pile, maybe a hang up, or somebody, there's some trees or whatnot, or someone maybe dumped a crappie house in the
Mm-hmm.
water, basically.
They
Usually
like
what I
vertical.
find is, uh, when I'm using my fish finder, that's mainly what I'm doing with crappie is I'm looking for structure. And there's certain places that I've run into by accident that I know someone had, set a brush pile,
Mm-hmm.
just by memory. I'll go back to those places, and usually within a few feet, or within a few passes back and forth, I'll find that particular brush pile.
So how deep do crappie usually kind of hang out? Does it vary, or do they
It
like to
it
stay up a little higher in those
it,
structures?
it it'll vary. What I noticed is during the early part of the season, spring, they're coming shallow. They're going to spawn. They're hanging in 3-4 feet of water. And then later on, especially this time of year, look for them deep. Look
Deeper.
for
That
look for
area that you
structure.
were talking about, kind of like where it's cooler, there's less oxygen. So
Yeah, but with crappie, it's a little bit different. It's find the structure, you'll find the crappie. I've gone to several locations, different launch points at Lavon, and when I'm specifically targeting crappie, I'll bring my fish finder with me, and it's a little, I forgot when I got it, Lowrance 3X DSI. I put it on a dry box. It uses just 8 AA batteries,
oh,
and I got a
nice.
suction cup that I have where I stick it underneath the kayak, and I'll just have it tied on to the deck of the kayak, and I'm just mainly looking for any structure, be it brush piles. Sometimes you'll see that someone had actually dropped like a little crappie structure, and then you'll see some submerged trees and whatnot, and I'll just purposely go over that particular
Yeah.
location and just kind of drift over it and bouncing my jigs in there. And sometimes I'll get hung up, other times I'll get hooked. But I find that seems to be the most consistent when it comes to crappie, other than I've memorized several places to go where I
Oh
know
yeah,
there's brush.
naturally.
And yeah, if you
Some
see
honey
some,
holes.
what was that? Oh,
Some honey holes.
yeah, just there's one that I like going to. They call it Hybrid Point. Um, it's got a good set of brush there, and I'm not sure if it's man-made or if it's it was a natural structure from some submerged trees and whatnot. But I've gone there, and if it's like today I want to go for some crappie, I'll go straight over there and just start working those jigs and letting them bounce, and eventually I'll hook into them. I don't get the numbers like some of the guides, with all
Yeah.
the gear and whatnot. But I'll get, about 4 to 6, enough to go and make dinner and,
Exactly. Exactly. I got lucky the other day. Me and my old man, we went out fishing, actually Livonia, and we
Mhm,
paddled because Mallard is closed right now. For some reason, the gates have been
mhm.
closed. There's that little picnic area that is open, but it's kind of a far walk to take your kayak if you
Yeah.
don't have wheels on it.
Okay.
But so we would launch from Livonia and we'd try to go under the bridge towards Mallard, where they
Uh-huh.
have like what you were talking about, those vertical kind of tree structures.
Mhm.
Still no luck. Tried
Yeah.
everything. It's like I said, I go back to like the whole, I don't know, I don't want to say like spiritual or whatever, but like you gotta put in your work.
Yeah.
The earth will feed you if you take care of it and enjoy it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to look at it, but
Well,
that's why I also want a little bit of advice and kind of want to
yeah.
just hear about different methods.
Well,
And
the best thing with Lavon, and it's I think they posted in one of these magazines way back when, that it's a crappie lake.
yep.
There's a lot of crappie there. Um, the quickest way to learn is if you hire one of these guides. I know Kerry Thorne. He's a really good one. He takes you there, and he's actually teaching you how to fish that particular lake or that technique that he's using. And heard great words from folks that have fished with him, and I've seen him personally out there working one of the rivers for white bass during the spawning season, and seen him just bring in fish left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right after the other, and I'm sitting there getting one.
Yeah, you see all these videos, right? And you're like, they're out there. Let's go. I'm waking up early. I'm staying out late. I'm gonna get 25 crappie, and you just end up, like I said, with a branch, and you're like, catch of the day. How big is this branch? Is it bigger than the last one?
So, like I was saying, the Lake Lavon Facebook page, or the Texas Fishing Forum, I'll pretty much pay attention to what's being posted there, get a feel for, okay, it looks like the bite is this, and then from there, from personal experience, I'll know, okay, here's what I do normally in this situation, or I know this point runs, from whatever to 20 feet. Okay, I'm gonna work it in this direction, and other times I'm just shooting blind. I'll just throw the rig behind me and just start paddling and just see what happens.
See that I've never really gotten into the trolling, but like I said today, from watching your video, I really did try it. And actually I got my catfish that way.
All right, cool.
Off of a minnow too, and I was using a bobber. I was going for crappie, but I caught a catfish with that method.
Yeah. So the big thing that I normally, there's usually a lot of activity on the boards, I call it, be it Facebook or the fishing forums, is you'll start seeing folks post and put in reports that, okay, this boil white bass or sand bass we're hitting this time of day or what. Well, I'm not hearing that as much this year. There's a few reports coming in, but it's not near the numbers that they used to be. And I think what it is it's just really hot right now.
Yeah, it's crazy out there, man.
Oh yeah. And I think there's an old video that I posted where we launched out of Avalon. I think it was Avalon.
That was another one. I think that was actually the first place I took my kayaks to.
Well, you launched out of Avalon, and there was another guy who was launching in a like an inflatable motorboat, and we were working that area, and next thing you know, just we were getting boils everywhere, and it was just magnums. I mean, the good sized white bass, not the little guys, and that's what I was expecting to happen again this year at some point. Yeah, and haven't heard it yet.
Just too hot.
I think it is. I think everything's low right now, kind of staying in the shade, cooler waters. Even in the evenings, usually I'm hearing reports by now of folks getting bit, working boils and whatnot. Well, I went out a couple of times already.
Now, what do you mean by working boils? If you don't, I'm not familiar with it.
So when the white bass are starting to hit on shad on the surface, you'll start seeing them boil up. And you'll see a bunch of water.
Like tailing.
Yeah, kind of, but not. It's more of just a bunch of fish splashing in the water, chasing shad. Haven't heard that too much this year. And then also Fish Lake Texoma for striped bass as well in the kayaks, and haven't heard too much there as well. There's a couple of folks that I stay in touch with there, and they're saying the same thing. The fish are deep.
It's too hot.
Yeah, it's the heat, and it's maybe could be the shad aren't running like they are or were. I've gone several times now to Denison and thrown the cast net there to get some shad, and it's been coming up with none.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, I have a small cast net, and I don't usually try to get shad, but the other day when I went to Mallard with a couple buddies of mine, and we off that dock we caught pretty good amount of shad. I was actually quite
Mm-hmm.
impressed.
Yeah.
But normally I don't catch anything with that cast net. And not just because I'm not good at it. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But
Oh yeah.
so as far as like the best eating fish in Lake Lavon, what do you think?
I'd say crappie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, crappie. From a best tasting fish standpoint when it comes to freshwater, I rank them as striped bass, crappie, and then after that, it's pretty much catfish. After that.
Yeah, catfish is kind of like the go-to. Just kind of.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say they're hard, like easy to catch, but if you find the right area and you just put like a piece of bologna or a hot dog, you're gonna catch either that or a carp.
Oh
But
yeah.
I've actually the best fish that I've cooked and eaten since I've been here was actually a bass, like a largemouth bass, and I hope that was legal, but I've never had it before, and I was
No,
curious.
large bass are legal as long as it's
It
the
was
right.
big.
Okay.
Fisherman story. It was this big. It was just, I almost died reeling it in, but it was like the most delicious. I sauteed it with a little bit of light flour and just a little bit of oil, not like deep fried, and it was one of the best fish I've ever had, honestly.
All right, cool.
But for you think the crappie is? For me, it was a little mushy. I don't know if it was the way I prepared it. I mean, I filleted 9 of them, and right after I cooked them, but I don't know. It's kind of. Is there a better way to do it than deep frying the crappie?
I mainly just do basically deep fat frying. Yeah.
Okay, well maybe I need to perfect my technique a little bit better in fishing and in cooking the fish that I catch. But Glenn, I want to say thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening to talk to me about fishing. I really appreciate the advice. If you ever need help with anything, or you ever need somebody to go kayak fishing with, or anything, just reach out to me. I want to add your video. I'm like a sound engineer, and I do a lot of videography and stuff. And I just got to say, I was really impressed with your presentation and your engineering. And that's really what got me like as a nerd on all that, and the fishing, of course. But I just want to say thank you so much. You have my email. Anytime you want to head out, you need somebody to make sure when it's one of those hot days you don't want to be out there, just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to join you.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, no
really
problem.
Appreciate it.
Do you want to go ahead and talk about or just kind of plug your YouTube real quick?
Oh, the City of Island Fishing Field Team?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Where can they find you? Is it just COAF Field Team on YouTube?
Yeah, just do a quick Google search, COAF Field Team. And our motto is learn to fish by our trials and errors. And hopefully we can hook you up.
Well, awesome. It was awesome meeting you, Glenn. I really appreciate you just taking time out of your day. Like it's awesome. And as a fisherman, we all have our stories and tales, and I think it's awesome to, get together with the fishermen and talk about some crappie.
All right. Always willing to talk fishing.
All right. Well, I might have to ask you again to come on whenever the season change, or if you have anything you want to talk about, just reach out to me and we can get together and do this again.
All right. Well, good luck with the fun with your podcast.
Oh, thank you, man. You have a great night.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.